We've all made our share of money mistakes, but survey after survey has shown that there is one money mistake that all Americans regret the most. And today we're going to tell you about what that mistake is and how you can make sure that it's not one of yours.
Hi, I'm Joseph.
And I'm Tasha with One Big Happy Life, and we make videos about how to find balance, build wealth, and live happy. Everything that you need to create the life that you want. So if you are all about living life on your own terms, then go ahead and subscribe and hit that notification bell because we make all kinds of helpful videos to help you get that life you want.
The biggest financial mistake that people regret the most is not saving enough for the long term so they are not reaching financial independence in retirement. And understandably, this is very frustrating or even devastating for people because there's not a lot that they can do. They've realized, hey, I can't go back and then start saving all this money, and then they're living a lifestyle that they don't really want to be in because, let's face it, nobody wants to work forever. You really like to be in a position where you can start doing the things that make you happy, that you enjoy all the time while you have some time left. So let's dig a little bit deeper into why people are doing this.
So first of all, saving for your financial future, saving to give yourself financial independence, abundance, and build wealth is one of the most important financial goals that you will ever have. Like Joseph said, we won't all be able to work forever. At some point, we will need to step back from employment and live a life more leisure. And for some of us, we want that to happen sooner rather than later. And the only way that that is going to happen is if you set yourself up financially by saving early and often.
Another reason is that when you reach retirement, you can't finance your retirement. There are very few options for any kind of lending at that point. You can't fund it. So the only way to get ahead is to start that long-term savings and have it invested for a great period of time so that you have the financial resources that you need to be able to live that lifestyle. And while some people have Social Security right now, it's not covering everything. No one's living a lavish Social Security lifestyle. I can guarantee it. But while it is there to help out, but you still need your own funding.
Another reason is that the fact is, the longer you wait to start saving, the more money you will actually need to save in order to hit the same financial goal. So let's give you a concrete example right now. So if you started saving $50 a day right now, investing $50, and you did that for 10 years, at the end of 10 years, assuming an 8% average rate of return, you would have approximately $9,000. $50, 10 years, $9,000. Now, if you waited 5 years to start saving, so 5 years from now, you start saving. In order to have that same $9,000 at the end of that same 10-year period, you would need to save over $120 a month. So by putting off saving 5 years, you'll have to more than double the amount of your hard-earned cash that you have to put towards investing to get the same amount of money. That's just insane.
That is massive. Now, so saving for your retirement is going to be probably the greatest, most difficult financial goal that you are going to face in your working adult life. But if you start developing the habit, that's where the mistake is, getting that habit started. Because if you start early, like Tasha said, then you don't have to work nearly as hard.
And so we thought we would spend some time before we get into the tips on how to actually build that savings habit. We want to chat a little bit about some of the reasons why people have told us why they haven't started saving for retirement yet. And I say saving for retirement, but we also just like to say building wealth, because that's what saving for retirement is. It is building wealth in your life so that you have that stockpile, that nest egg that gives you that financial freedom. So number one, there is plenty of time to save later. We hear that a lot from people who are, especially people in their 20s. And the fact is, the sooner you start, the better. We already shared that example with you, just showing how saving $50 a month over 10 years, you would have to more than double the amount that you would need to save if you wait. So it's far better to start saving now than to put it off until later when you'll have to save even more money. And so then the savings goal becomes that much harder.
Second, people say that I'm going to start saving when I start making a lot more money. Again, this is a problem because for several reasons. Number one, you might not reach that threshold that you think is the trigger for saving more money, which means that you're never going to save, which that's a huge problem. But also, there's that time value from where you are now versus when you do hit that trigger, like let's say it's 6 figures. Well, when you finally hit that 6-figure salary, then you start saving. Well, if you've got to save more than double the money, you probably didn't more than double your salary. If you did, fantastic, but you still got to save that much more. So it's much more difficult.
A third reason that we hear really often is, well, I'm saving for other things right now. And those other things often include, I'm saving for a new car, I'm saving for a house, I'm saving for a wedding. Well, like we said before, your number one financial goal outside of like establishing your career, going through college, establishing your career, you're in your career. After that, it has to be saving for retirement because again, that is the biggest and longest thing that financial goal that you will have in your life. It's the hardest to achieve. It's the one that benefits the most from starting early. And it's the only one that you can't get the money any other way. There are plenty of alternatives for saving up a down payment for a house, other loan products that you can use that don't require as much of a down payment. You can have a cheaper wedding. Frankly, you can finance your wedding. You cannot finance your retirement. And it's very hard to build up the habit of saving and not touching the money for any reason. And the longer you wait, the harder it's going to be.
Another very common reason that they're not saving is because they have debt. And so I can't save because I have debt. No, that is not true. We have shown how important it is to save even when you have debt. We have debt. We have a lot of debt. We have student loans. We have a mortgage. So we still save a lot of money. And we've shown how in the long term, that saving and investing is growing and helping our net worth where our debts are still being paid, just not as fast as if we devoted all the money to them. And that's great because overall our net worth is improving more than it would if we just paid our debts. So even if you're saving just a little bit, it's important to do that. And let's say that you're saying, oh, well, I'm in really dire straits. And so I'm worried that I'm going to go to bankruptcy or something like that. Well, even then, you don't want to have zero cash. You want to have some reserves, some amount saved, because if you do have to go down that road and look at bankruptcy or anything like that, you need money to be able to go through that process. So always save, even if you have debt.
And I'm so hardcore about saving. Now, in our case, slow paying debt and instead focusing on investing actually results in us building wealth even faster. But I'm so hardcore about the importance of saving, about the importance of building that habit, that I would say that even if that isn't the case, even if you have a high interest debt, I still say you should be putting aside a little bit of money for yourself every single month. You should still pay yourself first. And yes, that may mean that you'll pay a little bit more in interest in the long run, but the value of building that long-term habit of savings is just priceless.
Last, I can't save right now because I don't have money to pay my bills. Now, there is a caveat with this one, but generally, if you're running into the situation where you're not able to pay your bills every month, then you need to take a hard look at where your money is going. Look at that budget and really, really scrutinize everything on it to make sure that you're not spending in areas that you can't. And if you really can't, then you got to make some major changes. Like that's obviously a huge red flag if you're not making ends meet.
Yeah, and there are resources that you can work to access if you are in financial dire straits. We do live in a society that does have some amount of a social safety net. And so we really encourage you to take advantage of any programs that are available to you, whether it is food stamps or a housing voucher or bankruptcy, to help get your finances back on track rather than staying in this constant cycle where you never have enough, because unfortunately it does have a habit of building and snowballing through late fees and just kind of backed up interest payments. And so we really encourage you, if you are in those kinds of dire straits, which you may be, to go ahead and take advantage of all potential avenues to get yourself in a position where you are now in the black instead of being in the red. But like Joseph said, for a lot of people, for your average person who's making $50,000 a year or more, chances are there's some amount of extra in your budget that feels very like that you can't cut it, but the reality is that you could. Like, I've worked with someone who she was in the red every single month, month after month. And when I look at her budget, well, she had a lease on a brand new car. She had a smoking habit, and that was hundreds of dollars. She had a bank account that charged her fees to maintain her finances every single month. If she just cut out those things, she would have hundreds of dollars of extra money every month that she could use to boost her savings. So just be honest with yourself when you're looking at your spending plan and really evaluate where you can cut for now, just so that you can start paying yourself first, because you deserve to keep some of your money for your future self.
Okay, so let's give you some tools so you can start saving no matter how much money you're making right now. First off, just start. I don't care if it's $1 a week. Building that habit, doing whatever it takes to start setting some money aside, and also not touching that money. Like, really segregate it from your daily spending, your monthly spending, and just let it build. Because once you start paying yourself your savings first, then it's that much easier to go from $1 to $2, $2 to $3. The habit is the key.
Yeah, I know I struggled for years and years and years. I would always have the savings account, and then I would keep touching the money. I'm like, oh, well, the money's there, I can just pull it. And actually getting to the point where I saved the money and then did not touch it at all, and that my savings was non-negotiable. I don't care what else is going on. I will figure out some other way to get the money. If I need to make more money, I can go out and do a side hustle or something like that. But our savings rate is non-negotiable. And getting to that point took a lot of work and working on our money mindset and building those habits. So you absolutely need to start as soon as possible so that you can build up your financial muscles.
Second, and I kind of prefaced this before, is to start small. Something that is workable for your budget right now, just showing that you're committed to saving, still will pay off tons because you've got long-term growth that's going to happen. And even if you know you're going to start saving more when you do make more money or rearrange your budget, it's still great. Like, we didn't start saving the exact amount that we save now when we made less money, and that's okay. You know, we made the employer match, and then every time that we got a pay raise, we would bump it up. So we tried to negate the feeling of cutting money out of our budget. And by doing it that way, we were able to build up where now we are saving a lot of money. And we haven't really felt those impacts. And so you can do that exact same thing by starting small and then just build up.
Yeah, so like Joseph said, when we started at $50 a month, and now we have almost 400,000 this year. I bet we'll hit 400,000 in our nest egg. And we didn't feel it because we just said, well, we want to start saving more money, but we don't want to cut our lifestyle. So we just need to start making more money and committing ourselves to a certain portion of every single pay increase went to savings until we hit our minimum savings threshold, which is where we are right now. And then after that, we let the lifestyle creep up a little bit more because we were comfortable. And then now we're getting ready to switch back over to saving even more.
And the way that you start that commitment is number 3, by having a spending plan, specifically a 1-year spending plan, so you can map out an entire year, your whole spending plan, and say, well, I am going to contribute here, here, here. So you've got an entire year planned and just stick to it. And then it's like automating the process. So you don't have to think about it. You're not making decisions every month. You've got it.
And the other great thing about the 1-year spending plan is it helps you anticipate expenses. So I know for me, when I was making less money and not tracking things as closely and not having that full 1-year spending plan, things would come up and surprise me. And so that would be one of the reasons why I would pull things out of savings. Now that happens to us far less often because we plan for way more things in our spending plan. So if you don't have a 1-year spending plan, you can grab one at onebighappylife.com/budget. And we'll also drop a link to that down in the description box. So we hope this video has really inspired you and lit that fire in you to start saving and building wealth for your best financial future.
So if you're going to start saving now, let us know in the comments that this did it. You're going to make a commitment to save.
Awesome. We'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.
Bye.